Welcome in, everybody, to another deep dive. This time around, we were taking a look at stress and its effects on health.
Yeah, stress. Most people think they know all about it.
Oh, yeah.
We talk about it all the time, but what we are going to be looking at today is a bit different.
Yeah, we've got some really fascinating material to dig into.
Oh, yeah.
From a medical expert, Professor Ariel Rogan.
Yes.
We've got information about this really interesting method called ASA.
Yes, very unique.
And we've even got some personal stories from people who've actually tried it.
Yes, and a TV interview.
Yes. So a lot to unpack here.
Indeed.
So to kick things off, maybe you can tell us a bit about what Professor Rogan had to say about the dangers of stress.
Well, in this article, Kate, he wrote,
Okay.
Professor Rogan really highlights how chronic stress is connected to some very serious health problems.
Oh, I did.
Things like heart attack, stroke, diabetes, and even some types of cancer.
So it's not just about feeling a little overwhelmed or having a tough day. It's actually impacting our bodies in some pretty scary ways.
Right. It's not just in our heads.
Yeah.
It really gets into our bodies and can cause some serious damage.
So if stress is this dangerous, what can we actually do about it?
Well, that's where this ASA method comes in.
Okay, tell me more.
It stands for anti-stress activity, and it was developed by a guy named Shlomi Israel-Hiller,
Okay.
who has over 30 years experience in natural medicine.
Wow.
So he's been doing this a long time.
Yeah, so what makes this ASA method so different from other things we might have heard of?
So it combines in-clinic treatment with exercises you do at home.
Gotcha.
And here's the really unique part. They use electronic monitoring to track your progress.
During the home exercises?
Yes, you are actually seeing how your body is responding in real time.
Wow, that's incredible.
And that's not something you would normally see with natural medicine approaches.
Right. Usually you think of it as being a bit more, touchy-feely and less about data.
Exactly, but this ASA method is practiced in a hospital setting too.
Oh, wow, so it has that medical oversight.
Right, so it's really bridging the gap between those two worlds.
That's fascinating. So tell me, this Shlomi Israel-Hiller, what led him to develop this unconventional approach?
Well, it sounds like his interest in stress came from a very personal place.
Okay.
His father actually battled with cancer.
Oh, wow.
And that really sparked Shlomi's journey into exploring just how deeply stress can impact our health.
That's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
It must give his work a real sense of purpose.
Oh, absolutely. And he's not just treating patients.
Yeah.
He's actually quite vocal about advocating for more awareness around stress.
Interesting. How so?
Well, he's been involved in discussions at the government level.
Wow.
Even participating in some of those Knesset meetings.
Oh, wow. So he's trying to influence policy and change the way we think about stress on a larger scale.
Absolutely. He sees it as a major public health issue.
That's really admirable. Yeah. Now, we mentioned there's a TV interview with Shlomi too, right?
Yeah, posted by Orly Cohen.
Okay, so what were some of the highlights of that interview?
Well, one thing that stuck with me was his analogy about stress.
Okay, let's hear it.
He said it's like a car needing air in its tires.
Okay.
You wouldn't just keep driving on a flat tire, ignoring the problem.
Right.
You'd get it fixed.
Of course.
And he said we need to think about stress the same way.
Taking care of it before it leads to bigger problems down the road.
Exactly. It's not something to just tough out or ignore.
Right.
It needs attention and care.
That's a great analogy. So what else did he say?
Well, he also talked about the physiological effects of stress on our breathing.
Okay, I'm listening.
He explained that when we're stressed, our breathing becomes restricted. We're actually taking in less oxygen, which then impacts both our physical and mental well-being.
It's amazing how something so simple as breathing can be so connected to stress.
It really is.
And I think that leads perfectly into what makes this ASA method so unique. It's not just about pushing away stress or pretending it's not there.
Right.
It's about giving you the tools to actually understand it and manage it.
Absolutely. And both Shlomi and Orly Cohen actually acknowledge that some people might be a bit skeptical about all of this.
Oh, I bet. Especially when it comes to breathing exercises.
Right.
People might think, how can that really make a difference?
But Shlomi made a great point.
Okay. What was?
He compared mastering stress management to learning a new skill like driving.
Oh, I like it.
It takes practice and dedication, but eventually you become more confident and in control.
Exactly. And you wouldn't expect to be a great driver overnight.
Right.
It takes time and effort to really get good at it.
And it's the same with managing stress.
Okay. So we've established that stress is a serious health threat. And that this ASA method offers a pretty unique approach to managing it.
It really is.
But I'm wondering, what does this actually look like in practice?
Yeah, how does it actually work?
Right. What are the techniques involved, and how do they actually help people?
Well, that's what we are going to be talking about next.
Okay, so let's dive in
Let's get into the specifics.
and see how this ASA method combines ancient wisdom with modern technology
Exactly. It's a fascinating blend.
to create what sounds like a pretty transformative experience.
That's a goal.
I'm excited to hear more.
So at the heart of the ASA method is breathwork.
Okay, so we're not just talking about, taking a few deep breaths when you feel stressed.
No, it's much more specific than that.
Okay.
Shlomi actually teaches very precise breathing patterns
Okay.
that are designed to impact your nervous system directly.
So it's not just about relaxation. It's actually influencing how your body responds to stress at a physiological level.
Exactly. And this is where that electronic monitoring comes in.
Oh, right, the biofeedback stuff you mentioned.
Yeah, you actually wear a device while you are doing these breathing exercises.
Right.
And it gives you real-time feedback on things like your breathing rate and your heart rate variability.
Okay, hold on. Heart rate variability.
Yeah.
What exactly is that?
Basically, when you're relaxed, the time between your heartbeats varies slightly.
Okay.
But when you are stressed, that variability decreases.
So a more regular heartbeat means more stress.
Right, and the device shows you this happening in real time.
Wow, so you can actually see how your nervous system is reacting as you do these exercises.
Exactly, and that visual feedback makes it so much easier to adjust your breathing and bring about a state of calm.
That's fascinating. It takes all the guesswork out of it.
It does, and what's even more remarkable is that ASA is the only program in the world that uses this type of electronic monitoring at home.
During those personalized exercises.
Yeah, so it's not just something you do in the clinic.
Right, it becomes part of your daily routine.
Exactly. It empowers you to take control of your stress in your everyday life.
That's pretty powerful. This is starting to sound very different from other stress management techniques I've heard of.
It is. It's a real blend of ancient wisdom and cutting-edge technology.
Okay, but let's be honest, even with all this tech and science, some people are going to be skeptical.
Oh, for sure.
Can changing your breathing really have that much of an impact on your health?
It's a fair question, but think about it this way. Our breath is directly connected to our nervous system. And when we learn to control our breath, we're essentially learning to control our nervous system's response to stress.
That makes sense. And if we go back to what Professor Rogan was saying.
About stress being linked to all those serious health problems.
Right. If we can learn to regulate our stress response at that physiological level.
It's going to have a ripple effect on our overall well-being.
It's not just about feeling better in the moment. It's about creating a more resilient state within your body.
Right. And that brings us to the really important part.
Okay.
How does all of this translate into people's lives?
Yeah, does this stuff actually work?
Well, we've talked a bit about the testimonials, but let's dig into some specific stories that really illustrate what the ASA method can do.
I'm all ears. I always find those personal accounts so much more relatable.
Right, so one story that really stuck with me was about a woman named Daphne, who had been suffering from these debilitating migraines for years.
Oh, migraines are the worst. I've heard they can be really intense.
They can be, and she had tried everything. Medication, therapy, nothing seemed to help.
So what happened when she tried ASA?
Well, she was skeptical at first, but she was desperate. So she went through the program, learned the breathing techniques, how to use the biofeedback device, and the results were amazing.
Really?
Yeah, the frequency and intensity of her migraines went way down.
Wow.
But even more than that, she started noticing a change in her overall stress levels.
So it wasn't just masking the symptoms.
Right. It was getting to the root of the problem.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like she learned how to manage the underlying stress that was contributing to the migraines in the first place.
Exactly. And that's a common thread we see in a lot of the testimonials.
People feeling more in control of their stress.
Not just calmer, but empowered.
It's a real shift in perspective, isn't it?
It is. And here's another great example. A man named Ethan who was struggling with insomnia.
Oh gosh, insomnia, that's tough.
It is. He had been relying on sleeping pills for years.
Okay.
And he was looking for a natural alternative, so he decided to try ASA.
Okay. So did he start sleeping better?
He did, but what he discovered through the program was much more than just a good night's sleep.
Oh, really?
The breathing techniques and the biofeedback actually helped him become aware of all this tension he was holding in his body.
Tension he didn't even realize was there.
Right, and as he learned to release that tension, not only did he start sleeping better, he also felt less anxious and more energized during the day.
It's like everything started to improve.
Exactly. It speaks to the holistic nature of this method.
It's not just targeting one specific symptom. It's about creating a more balanced state in the whole body-mind system.
Right. And that's what makes it so powerful.
So it's not a quick fix.
Yeah.
It's about giving people the tools and the awareness to make real changes.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so empowering.
It's not about relying on external solutions. It's about tapping into your own inner resources.
Absolutely. Now, these stories are inspiring.
They are.
But people are going to want to know, how long does it take to see results with this method?
Yeah. Is this something that takes years of practice?
Well, one of the things that makes ASA so unique is that it's designed to be relatively short-term and effective.
Oh.
So typically people go through 3 in-clinic sessions,
Okay.
spaced about 2 weeks apart.
Gotcha.
And during those sessions, they learn the core techniques and how to use the biofeedback device.
So it's not like a years-long therapy process.
No, not at all. The in-clinic sessions are really just the foundation.
Okay.
The real work happens through the personalized at-home practice.
Right, where that electronic monitoring comes in.
Exactly. That feedback loop allows people to track their progress and make adjustments as needed.
But what about after those initial sessions?
Mhm.
Are people just left to figure it out on their own?
Not at all. Shlomi is committed to providing ongoing support.
Oh, okay.
So people can actually send their data from the biofeedback device. And he'll give them personalized feedback and guidance.
So it's not just learning a set of techniques.
Right.
It's having that support system in place to help you stay motivated.
Exactly. It's crucial for long-term success.
It makes sense. Shlomi understands that managing stress is an ongoing process.
It is.
It's not something you just fix and then forget about it.
Exactly. Now, this all sounds great, but what about the scientific evidence?
Yeah, has there been any research to back up these claims?
Well, Shlomi has meticulously documented over 870 handwritten testimonials from people who have completed the program.
870 testimonials. That's impressive.
It is, and they offer a really compelling look at the real-world impact of this method.
Okay, but have there been any controlled studies or clinical trials?
Not yet, but that's something Shlomi is actively working towards.
Okay, so he recognizes the importance of scientific validation.
Absolutely, and he's committed to collaborating with researchers to explore the efficacy of the ASA method even further.
That's great to hear. It's exciting to think about the potential of this method to be studied and validated by the scientific community.
It is, but even without those studies,
Yeah.
the testimonials speak volumes.
They do. They offer a real glimpse into how this method can help people regain their health and their sense of control.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about the techniques, the technology, the testimonials, but let's zoom out for a minute and talk about the bigger picture.
Okay.
What are the potential implications of this ASA method? How could it change the way we think about stress management as a society?
That's a great question. And I think this method has the potential to really shift our entire paradigm around stress.
In what way?
We've become so used to thinking about stress as an inevitable part of modern life.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's just something we have to deal with.
Right. It's almost become a badge of honor to be stressed out.
It means you are working hard and being successful.
Exactly. But what if that's not the case?
What if stress isn't something we just have to accept? What if we can learn to manage it effectively?
Use it to our advantage.
Right. Harness its energy to promote growth and well-being.
Instead of letting it lead to burnout and illness.
Exactly. And I think the ASA method shows us that it is possible.
It's not about eliminating stress completely.
No, that's impossible.
But it is about understanding your own personal stress response and learning how to navigate those stressful situations.
And one of the most important things about this method
Yeah.
is the emphasis on personal responsibility.
Taking control of your own health.
Exactly. It's about realizing that true healing comes from within.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's about becoming your own healer.
It is, and that's what makes it so empowering.
It's not about relying on external solutions or quick fixes.
Right. It's about developing the skills and the knowledge to manage stress effectively.
And that's a message that really resonates with me. It's about moving away from that victim mentality.
Right.
And realizing that we have the power to influence our own health and well-being.
By making conscious choices and taking action.
And the ASA method gives us a really clear path for doing just that.
It does. It's not just a set of techniques. It's really a whole philosophy of living.
Approaching life's challenges with more awareness and self-care.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's say someone is listening to this and thinking, I want to learn more. What's the best way for them to explore this ASA method further?
Well, the great thing about this method is that it's designed to be accessible.
Okay.
Shlomi offers a free initial consultation.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so you can learn more about the program, ask questions.
And see if it's the right fit for you.
Exactly. And during that consultation, he really takes the time to understand your individual needs, your health history, your goals.
So it's a really personalized approach.
It is. And even if you decide not to go through with the full program, that initial consultation can still give you valuable insights into your stress levels.
And some practical strategies for managing stress more effectively.
Exactly. It's a no-risk opportunity to explore a potentially life-changing approach.
I like that. And another great way to learn more is to check out those testimonials.
Yes, they are available on Shlomi's website.
And they offer a really inspiring glimpse into the real-world impact of this method.
Reading those stories can be so helpful, especially if you're feeling alone in your struggle with stress.
Right. It's a reminder that there are solutions out there.
There are.
So let's take a moment to really reflect on what we've learned today about this ASA method and its potential to transform lives.
What's really remarkable about this approach is how holistic it is.
It addresses stress on so many levels.
Physical, mental, emotional.
It's not just about calming the mind or relaxing the body.
Right.
It's about empowering individuals to take an active role in their own well-being.
Giving them the tools to navigate life's challenges with more ease and grace.
And what I find so inspiring is that emphasis on self-reliance and personal responsibility.
It's about recognizing that true healing comes from within.
And that's a powerful message.
It is.
It's about shifting our perspective from one of victimhood to one of agency.
Knowing that we have the power to influence our health and well-being.
Not by passively accepting our circumstances, but by actively engaging in practices that promote balance and resilience.
And vitality.
And the ASA method provides a clear roadmap for doing just that.
It does. It's not just a set of techniques. It's a philosophy of living.
A way of approaching life's challenges with more awareness, compassion, and self-care.
Exactly. And as we wrap up this deep dive into the ASA method, I want to leave you with this thought.
Okay, I'm listening.
If stress is an inevitable part of life, and if we have the power to influence how we respond to stress, then perhaps the most important question to ask yourself is this.
What's that?
What kind of relationship do you want to have with stress?
Do you want to let it control you?
Dictate your decisions and limit your potential?
Or do you want to learn to manage it?
Harness its energy for positive change and create a life that is more aligned with your values and aspirations?
That's a great question.
The choice is yours.
So I encourage you to explore the ASA method further. Consider its potential to transform your life and embrace the possibility of a future
where stress is no longer a burden,
but a catalyst for growth and resilience and a deeper sense of well-being. It really is about recognizing that you have the power within you.
Yeah, it's about taking ownership of your well-being and not just being a passive bystander in your own life.
And I think that's such a powerful message that really resonates with a lot of people.
It does. It's about recognizing that true healing comes from within and empowering individuals to become their own healers.
And that's what I find so fascinating about this ASA method. It's not just about treating symptoms.
Right. It's about addressing the underlying issue of stress and equipping people with the tools they need to manage it effectively.
And, we live in a world where we are constantly bombarded with quick fixes and external solutions.
It's true. We are always looking for that magic pill or that one thing that will make everything better.
But this method is different. It's about taking a more holistic approach.
Absolutely. It's about understanding that true well-being is a journey, not a destination.
And it's a journey that requires us to be active participants.
To make conscious choices that support our health and well-being.
To cultivate a more mindful and compassionate relationship with ourselves.
And to embrace the power we have to shape our own lives.
And I think that's what makes the ASA method so inspiring.
It's a reminder that we are not helpless victims of our circumstances.
That we have the power to choose how we respond to stress.
And that by making those conscious choices, we can create a life that is more aligned with our values and aspirations.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the ASA method, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
I'm all ears.
If stress is an inevitable part of life, and if we have the power to influence our response to stress, then perhaps the most important question to ask yourself is this.
Yep.
What kind of relationship do you want to have with stress?
That is a powerful question, and one that I think we all need to ask ourselves.
Do you want to let stress control you?
Dictate your decisions and limit your potential?
Or do you want to learn to manage it effectively? harness its energy for positive change, and create a life that is more aligned with your values and aspirations?
I think the answer is pretty clear.
The choice is yours, but I encourage you to explore the ASA method further. Consider its potential to transform your life, and embrace the possibility of a future where stress is no longer a debilitating force, but a catalyst for growth, resilience, and a deeper sense of well-being. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive, everybody.
Absolutely. And remember, you have the power within you to create the life you want.